It's a new day. It's a beautiful day. It's one of those days everything goes my way. And the sun shines in the blue sky. Oh yeah, It's a new day. It's a wonderful day. I'm moving away from all that is gray. This is my day. And the sun shines in the blue sky. I'm closing my eyes. I'm so happy. I'm glowing inside. I'm so happy.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the BCN Brunch Fest 3.0. This is version 3, and thank God Lady T is here. Hey, Mama.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi.
We're two runaways from the marsh. We're two U.S. immigrants running away from the Bush administration, then Trump, y'all. And we're just taking a look at, so this is what we do up in here with the BCN Brunch Fest. We actually do have brunch. So for those of you who are going to watch us later with your peepholes on YouTube, hey,
Hi.
we're doing a little bit of mimosa up in this. And we're going to take a sip. And, yes, Lord, that's what the doctor calls for. At a brunch time here in the beautiful city of Barcelona. That's where we record, in the RCE studios, right smack dab in beautiful Barcelona. So if you're jelly, don't be. It's just like we're hashtag blessed. So what we do up in here in the BCN Brunch Fest, create a cast is what I call it. We took a look at some of the social pleasantries, the craziest stuff that we think about, but more than anything, we take a look at stuff that's happening in entertainment, art, and society, and throw a spin on it while we get really loaded on bubbly, right? Something like that.
Exactly.
Okay. We also have croissant here, and we have I'm doing another show after this with a special friend, so I won't touch all of them. Let me put my fingers on all 3 of them, like we used to do. Did you do that when you were a little kid?
Put your fingers on
Now
all
you
3,
want it?
or like stick your tongue out and then lick each one
Oh my!
to make sure
You mean
no
like
one touches
Ariana
them.
Grande? Mm-hmm. You know the Donut Gate?
No.
What? Okay, so
No. No.
I'm gonna go out there and let's see how Towy. This is something we talked about earlier in the week. Like, let me just say things and see how you react to this. So, a few years ago, I'm sure people will remember, there was a series of years where travesty, intense, or death seemed to follow Ariana Grande. And I believe it was when she was dating Mac Miller, where they went probably very high to a donut shop around 3 or 4 in the morning in LA. And the woman who was serving her, the baker, she was putting some stuff out, and she was attending to them, but also having to get the donuts out because the beeper or whatever had gone off. And she's pulling them out, and she's going back to the back. And Ariana, and I believe it was with Mac Miller, they just start taking nibbles and licks out of all the donuts.
Get
And it's all filmed
out.
because it's 20 whatever. And not long after that, Mac Miller killed himself. And then Pete Davidson tried to take his life. And then in Manchester, in the terrorist
concert.
explosion at the concert where 50 people died.
Yes.
And so I think right after that is when Homegirl said, you know what? I'm going to go back to something from my roots. I'm going to work on an album called Sweetener that she actually produced and wrote, I think, every track on that.
Okay.
And it was, to me, the finest record she's ever done.
Okay.
And now she's less on her knees in her videos. And I don't know. I did not know. Like, at this time, she was actually filming Scream Queens. Girl, can we speak about nostalgia? Mm-hmm. Because Scream Queens, I mean, it's already nostalgic because it's from 2015 and 16. You know, when Obama was in the White House and England was part of Europe. Good times, good times. They were certainly different. But Scream Queens has Ariana Grande, Nick Jonas, Emma Roberts, Jamie Lee Curtis, John Hamm. There's so many people in this wonderful series created by Brad Falchuk and what's his name, who does all the shows?
Wait,
I think Brad Falchuk's married to Gwyneth Paltrow now. But his producer partner is the one who made Nip Tuck and Glee and all that.
Yes. What is his
All
name?
the American Horror Stories.
Oh, my
He's
God.
my favorite. And he's a homosensual like myself.
He's the Versace.
Yeah, everything.
Oh,
It escapes our names, but we're going to look him
Yes,
up right now
yeah,
because that's the beauty of like internet. But who's the creator of
yes, because it's destroying
Glee?
me that I don't remember,
Lady Tawanda Vaughns is destroyed?
which is a part of getting older.
we are thin, young, and gorgeous.
Yes.
Don't look at my forehead.
Eat your heart
I'm
out.
getting that Botox. next year. Ryan Patrick Murphy.
Ryan Murphy.
Mm-hmm. And that's the beauty of, and I'm noticing that too. Speaking of, starting to speak about nostalgia, I look at people who are in their 50s and 60s, and I'm in wonderment of just the generational change from when we were certainly as really a child of the 80s and a teen of the 90s, new adult of the millennium.
Mm-hmm.
There was I feel. Do you remember the Donna Reed show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I just felt like after you passed 35, 45, you were put on your apron. We're going to put you out to pasture and, well, pasture and pasture. And I don't know. It's just a different thing when you look at, like, you know, not to bring it up again, because I do every week since she came on my street. Came on my street all over me. Madonna. At, you know, hitting mid-60s and doing what she did. It was for 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was phenomenal.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
With 17 costume changes and 34 songs played. And it was dumbfounding because it sets in 26 years when I'm that age, because I've been 39 for 5 years. But at 39, you know, I really feel like a dream is being woven. Mm-hmm. And when I see that, and then I think of, let's see, Kylie's in her mid-50s, Jennifer Lopez is in her mid-50s, Shakira's about to hit 50. Oh, and by the way, for those who weren't aware, she also solved her financial crisis drama
they came
with the
to an
Spanish government.
agreement.
Mm-hmm. As always, as I learned last year with Half a Face, when you throw money at the problem, it goes away. I spent 6 weeks as the Elephant Man. It was a lovely tour of my emotions and survival skills. Okay. But I'm not nostalgic for that. Let's go back to something else. Because one of the questions you brought up was the era of nostalgia.
Oh.
And is that a good thing, though?
Well, I think it depends. I can say I am spending a lot of time now looking back at my 20s, my teens, but I also compare it to how my life is now. So for me, I look back on those years, even with the crazy times, with such fond memories. I can't even, don't make me cry, but
Because the 90s were wonderful?
the 90s were
I mean,
spectacular.
keep it real.
Even with whatever craziness was going on, in our
because-
teenage years or just the world.
There wasn't that much craziness going on.
Not as much as now, I feel like. I feel like now everything is out of control.
It all started in September on the 11th day, 8 months into the elections, the administration of George Bush. It all went to shit 20 years ago, 22 years ago now.
It's been stress and stress.
Which is interesting because that means that our millennial brothers and sisters, and I'm a Xennial because I'm the Star Wars kid, but they have only lived in trauma, mostly.
That's true.
They've only,
That
if
is
you think
true.
if they're in their 20s and 30s, their entire life, or by the time they were 5, 10, has been war, terrorism, blow-ups, explosions, Ramblas, drama.
And it's all been televised on the internet, and there's really no escaping it nowadays.
And this is, I was thinking when we were growing up, because I love horror cinema, and when we were growing up, they were always preparing us for terror, like stabs, attacks, blow-ups, something like that. And then we lived that era of terrorism. And these kids, they've been growing up, the millennials and the pandemials and whatever. They have been Generation Zombie. They've grown up consistently in the dystopian future, dystopian future. And I think that we were prepared for terrorism, and they're being prepared for dystopia.
Let me ask you a question. In your school, did you have these drills in which you would have to hide under your desk in case there was something?
No.
We did that.
Really?
Which, in hindsight, I'm thinking, why?
No,
Yeah.
we did not.
And I don't remember.
We did
what
fire
we were-
drills. Oh, I
We
love
did
when that would
that.
happen.
Oh my God, yeah.
During an exam, you're like, bitch, done. Let's go.
I
On
still
fire
get
drill. Look at
excited over a good fire drill at work
See?
when I was going into the office.
Nostalgia, y'all. Don't you wish there could be a fire drill in your lives? You know what? I can't be in this meeting right now. I gotta go.
Sorry, I had to go.
There's a
I
fire
gotta
drill
take
in my
coat.
pants. That's how I felt last night.
Ooh.
Oh, Lord mercy. We won't talk about that. So, is it a good thing, nostalgia? My girlfriend Kelly, shout out, Kelly Millions, would say no. I mean, yeah. No, she don't live in nostalgia. And I'm talking since 99, she said things like that.
It can become depressing, and it can feel as if you can dwell on things. Oh, I should have done this, and then this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be here today. So this is why I say it depends on how things are working out for you today. Because I look back and I think of, oh, everything was amazing, but there were also things that were terrible. But I myself have to also say, you know what? Okay, leave it there. I am no longer at that place. I know I cannot do like a backflip or whatever it was I was able to do back
because
then.
those videos
You know,
might prove otherwise.
it's
We've
like,
got the Fly Girls up in
oh yeah,
in
the,
W
speaking of the
Hotel.
fly girl.
Okay, speaking of nostalgia.
You know,
Really quickly, I'm going to throw on one quick track because we can do that. Take it back. What? And there is a gentleman. He is I'm going to call him the BCN King of Soul right now because Ati Soul has just released his new record. It just dropped last night, in fact. And I went to see him last week. And it was banging. And this brother, Ati Soul, if you don't know, TTIH Soul, he's just released a record. This is the track that I chose because I can do that on our show. And he's given me exclusive permission to do this. So we're going to play that track right now. And then we're going to come back to talking about situationally or performatively woke. And we'll talk a lot more about that and its origins as well, because that's something that people... You're going to talk about that in a minute. This is Ati Soul's new track. This is In the Music from his new album, and we'll be right back.
Ain't gonna write about a broken heart, 'cause I've been doing it again and again. I guess finding melodies for love stories has been the quickest way to channel the pain. It was hard to get detached and to finally get bashed of the scarlet blood wound on my chest. Now I'm happy, can't you see? Got this major key to see, and there's a joy that actually flows to my face. 'Cause I found love in melodies, and I found joy in harmonies. I fell in love with my best friend, she's Tori me. Ooh, I have found love in melodies, and I found joy in harmonies. I'm so in love with my best friend, it's music, Lord. spent my soul, my blood, my sweat and time to things some people didn't do the same. I tried and failed, got frustrated, won't upset, cause I had given all of me to the wrong things. So I picked up my guitar, played a couple of tunes, and then I started feeling whole again. Now I'm happy, can't you see? Got the speech you keep a see, and there's a joy that actually flows to my veins. Cause I found love in melodies, and I found joy in harmonies. I fell in love with my best friend, she's Tori me. Ooh, I found love in melodies, and I found joy in harmonies. I'm so in love with my best friend, it's music, Lord.
Oh, that is brother Ati Soul, and he's throwing a little bit of music our way with an exclusive release of his new record. And you are joining me and Lady T, Towy Vaughns, on the BCN BrunchFest 3.0. Now, I'm just bringing up my questions list here because we were talking just before the song about being, and this are the words that you wrote last weekend, situationally or performatively woke. Let's break down the word. Now, what do you mean by situationally or performatively woke?
Well,
I mean, I know what you mean, but
okay, firstly, the word woke. I see it as
it is a past simple verb of wake.
awake. Are you awake? But I see it as today's are you conscious? Back to the 90s. Growing up in Brooklyn and the Bronx. And my social circle, it was, we were bohemians, and it was this whole thing of, are you conscious? Meaning, are you aware of what's going on around you? How are you participating? What are you doing about it? So I kind of feel like with each generation, it's a similar meaning, different word.
Right.
Different generation. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the term woke. I think maybe 15, 20 years from now, it would be a different word to mean the same thing. I tend to get a little like, when I feel that we are focusing on one thing, but not really focusing on the real issue or doing something about it.
How so?
When it comes to certain words that we use, finding myself in conversations in which the focus is more on what is being said, how it's being said, the proper words that need to be used versus do we have a problem and how can we solve that problem?
But
You
then
know.
who says, if I may ask, who says what are the proper words?
Well, this is the question I have. My question is always, well, is there a list that I am not aware of? And
I'm wondering if you could be more specific, love, about other things that people have said. Like in one of my business sessions this
See.
week, this gentleman said the N-word. And, the young ones in the class were like, what did he just motherfucking say? And I said, whoa, sir, please don't say that out loud, especially if you're walking through
Yeah.
the UK, US.
right.
Australia's different. No. Motherfucker been crazy. I've seen Romper, Stomper. And, by the way, that was, what's his name, the fat one? Russell Crowe's first film. Oh, God. Horror bites about skinheads in Australia. And it was fun. And I had to explain to him a little bit about this word and the non-usage and why it was used and who used it when who was the real lazy mo. Okay. So, and he just said, well, what about, in songs and hip hop and rap? And I'm like, yes, but you ain't black.
But can I say something about that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, clearly it's a word that should not be used. I don't understand. There are a few words that should not be used and not missed. I don't agree with the notion of we can use it, but you cannot. I think we need to decide as a people, is it a bad word or not? And maybe in the U.S., Europe, people who are non-black or people of color may understand that if I'm listening to a song and it's a part of the lyrics, maybe I skip over that one word. But let's speak hip-hop. Hip-hop has exploded worldwide. It's been this way for many, many years.
Yep.
So we have to understand that beyond Europe and the U.S., let's say when I lived in Shanghai, the people there, they're singing a song, they don't know the real history. They're not going to understand, oh, skip this word. No, they're going to say it because to them, it's in the song, it's a lyric, I'm going to sing the song. And I don't think it's my duty to go around explaining to everybody in Asia when I was living there, no, this one you don't say. Because the question will be,
And
well,
this one you
why?
say it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know-
then, like, you're going to teach us how to speak.
I mean, so, I have to say, okay, it's a question that should be asked. Why is it this way? And me personally, people can do what they want, but I don't use it. And there are other words that I don't use. And I'm not struggling to not use it.
Can you tell us what those words are? No.
I'll just use the first letters, but I'm not using it.
I'm kidding. The origin for me of that word goes back to at least almost 20 years ago. And again, shout out Kelly Millions and growing up in Brooklyn. And especially as a teen, that we would go to certain places. You would go to events by Mashoud, clothing.
Mashoud.
I would go to here, and there would be speeches. Grew up, Fort Greene, man. And about being aware, being woke, which is, again, I repeat, the past tense of the word wake. And what it meant was exactly what you said, being conscious, being completely aware of what's going on, or at the most that you can be aware, that the struggle and everything that is precipitated and led up to the world that we live in is because of a certain mitigated standard of structures that have been in place by usually lighter-skinned, religious, heterosexual, entre comillas, men. And that brings up actually the next topic after the next song. But the way that it's been monopolized and used as a critical issue of race, even critical race, and just everything, is a certain segment of society, usually in the Five Eye countries. Look it up. For those of our listeners, look it up if you're a Five Eye country. And it has become something for the right to attack people always of color. That they're trying to take away, and they're trying to do this, and they're trying to do that. And cancel culture, and I call it accountability culture. This week, something happened that did great on my nerves. There is a woman, an actress named, I think it's Michelle or Melissa Barrera, and she's an actress she's actually one of the leads in the new Scream series. And she has been posting and reposting certain journalists from a Jewish website, but also commenting on her complete abhorrence and detest of the Netanyahu government and reporting back some of these statistics. And she was fired from the lead role of Scream 7, which is being shot. It's partly shot already. It's been filmed. Because the producers deemed her retweeting these things and reposting them as anti-Semitic. And she was fired. And in many instances, at least to her point of view, she was telling her truth and the truth. And it really did affect me. Like, this is a cancel culture issue that annoys me. Because firstly, it's very rare that we even have a Latina actress leading a film at all, especially one that is going to make between $200, $300, $400 million, because it's Scream around the world. And then they're already filming it, and because she retweeted a Jewish, some of these guys, a lot of these retweets were from Jewish journalists, Israeli Jewish journalists, some of them. and she got fired. And then that brings up the issues of cancel culture, which is now starting to invade here in Spain, which is fun or not. What do you think?
Well, I also think
Especially with that
that
topic.
we need to. For me, it's simple. It's like either are you a decent person or not, you know, and people should be held accountable. As I said, I don't have an issue with the word, or with, in regards to this cancel culture. But I think if you're someone who feels the need to say things that are just completely inappropriate, and if someone calls you on it, you cannot do the whole, oh, you're too woke for me. You know, this is ridiculous to me. You should, I mean, just know better. Just know better. But
It's
on
the
the
way
other,
you spin it, though.
yeah,
It can be spun
yeah.
6 ways to Sunday,
See,
like with Dr. Seuss and Fox News. And it was Dr. Seuss's family who said, you know what? We don't want to represent our black people as monkeys in trees and Asians as these uber yellow buck teeth. What the hell? And they pulled 4 titles. 4, 5 maybe, out of 50. Voodoo Bar. This is the song that you chose
yes.
by Wicca Foray or Foray. Now, where's Wicca Foray from? And why this track?
Well, he lives here in Spain. I am not sure if he lives here in Barcelona.
I need to get a hold of him now. Look it up.
And he's cute. But that's not why I chose him.
Oh, certainly.
I chose
not.
him because that song, I heard it for the first time in this amazing modern rendition of The Wizard of Oz called Rainbow. Paco Leon,
Oh, my nerves.
our guy. So what a soundtrack, that film.
Really? Our guy. It's her it's her boyfriend. He's not aware of it.
He doesn't know yet.
Yes.
Wait until
exactly.
I meet him. Is he in Madrid? Where is he?
That's exactly where he is. I do respect him for other reasons too, as he is a member of my community, apparently.
Yes.
But let's play this little ditty. It's only 2.5 minutes, and it's at jam.com. Then we're going to come back. Since we're talking about men, we're going to talk about men's physical health and mental health. Oh,
And
Lord.
the scene where this song is from.
See, there you go.
See the movie.
Rainbow, hey
See the
girl.
movie.
This is Voodoo Bar. We'll be right back, y'all.
Every time that you see me coming, make you pick your slippers, make you flash on the line with your mommy. She says she won't come next, yeah, yeah. As she come, then I suck away. If you see I make you look away, and I come, then I look away. I look away. I look away. Come, then I look away. I look away. Turn, then I look away. I look away.
Oh, so we have just realized and already sound out our feelers because that's how Lucas rolls. That Wicafore is here in Barcelona and actually runs some underground club called the Voodoo Children's Club. Look that up. It's got about 15,000 followers, as well as Wicafore on Instagram. Let's get popping because I'm sure he'd want us to talk about men's mental and physical health. Go get checkups, please.
Yes, please.
Why did you say that? Why did you mention that one out of curiosity? My favorite
Because I
phrase.
just feel that men should firstly recognize that their mental health is just as important as their physical health.
Are you
Not-
acting like our brains are inside our bodies?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to tell you.
That's true. But
I'm like, listen, guys, firstly, be okay to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Stop with the man up business. Stop with the keep my feelings inside with this whole taciturn way of dealing with things. Stop with the acting out because you're keeping your feelings inside, which will come out in the most inappropriate way eventually.
you already know.
And from a physical standpoint, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, we women, we have to worry about things as we become like breast cancer. You know, as we become older, we think about the dreaded mammogram. You know, the Pap smears.
The
Ladies,
menopause.
the menopause, the perimenopause, which I just learned about like a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, and it's only
Shout
because
out to the sisters.
I mean, it's because I have a amazing group of female friends here who are older, and they tell me
more
things.
mature.
They're more mature. Well, some of them are like, I'm like, you guys are staying out too late. I'm just trying to stay on my sofa. But the same goes for men.
That's funny.
You need to go for that prostate or prostate?
Prostate.
Prostate
You need
exam.
to lie prostrate and then get
Ooh.
prostate. Check.
You
Oh,
need to do
yeah.
it. Do it. You know, you need to check for other things. You know, and stop with
Specifically.
a lot of men don't. You know, they become afraid.
Well, it's a total fear thing.
Yeah.
As
But I
a
wonder.
man, let me tell you,
Well,
I love my teeth. Americans are always proud of our teeth. U.S. Americans, well, Americans in general, we have good teeth.
Mm-hmm.
From Canada down to Tierra del Fuego. Roots. They say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And so, anyway, I think that I will go to the dentist in a heartbeat. I mean, it's like me da pereza, claro, which means in Spanish, English. It makes me feel like no, I don't want to do that. But going to the doctor can be laborious for me because I'm waiting for them to say, you have cancer.
See.
And I rebuke, I'm going to knock on wood because that isn't even run in my family. But there are certain things that, why?
You gotta do it. It's uncomfortable. I don't know nowadays how a prostate exam is given, but I know.
I don't either.
But
But
years
I'm not far from 45. So, oh God, I just realized what I'm saying. And
You're not 45.
so I need to, if you have a history of this, and this is a thing that I looked up, if you have a history of this, you should, after 45, you need to get checked. If you're just a typical guy like I am, after 50, you need to get checked. And you just go up there, and apparently some guys really enjoy it. I am one of those men who is definitely not going to enjoy it, even though I am a member of a certain community.
See, and some men will not go and get that checkup
Because
because
of
of their
that.
issues with that, and that's a
But
problem.
that shit makes me gay. That make me gay. I'm not gay.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
going
like,
to get
if
that.
you don't lay down on that table and get yourself checked out.
That's why, girls, let me help you. Let me help you. Let me give you some clues right here about stimulating your mind. Because, you know, here's the thing. Even when we're not dealing with prostate cancer, so to speak, 9 of 10, I believe it's 9 of 10 lower GI function cancers are in men, not women. And I believe that a lot of that, especially the ones related to the poop chute, excuse me for being crass, I think a lot of that has to do with the lack of care down there.
Yeah.
If you do not take care, proper care down there as a man, what is going to happen over years and decades, especially if you're hairy down, down there. It's going to create bacteria, which can create something, which can create an infection, which can, I mean, it leads to things. And so if you're not, yeah, and also watch what you eat.
Yeah.
I went out with a homeboy last night, and he was so hungry. He's so sweetheart. And he ate this burger, and I was thinking, imagine as we're eating that, because he's from the UK, I'm from the US, and, you know, we do come from countries where anywhere from 3 to 10 burgers a week is consumed by many people. Think about
What?
that. There are people that go to McDonald's every other day,
That I know. That I
and
know.
or every day, as we saw with that damn documentary.
Mm-hmm.
And what is happening if you are consuming that daily, and swine and beef? And so I think it's important that men watch what they eat. Now, obviously, we live in a country, in a region of the world where we're really, truly blessed to have the kind of educational dietary mentality here. That's not necessarily in the States and the UK or the Five Eye countries, to repeat it again. But guys, watch what you eat. Get some veggies up in your
Yeah.
system. Try not to eat so much cured ham. Just before the pandemic, the World Health Organization let us know, like, what? That if you are consuming on any weekly basis, or just typical basis rather, red meat and cured pork, you have worms in your body. Full stop. Act like you know. And only Ayurvedic retreats and detoxifications and getting it all out is the only way to get rid of it. And yeah, I just see a lot of men running to do Ayurvedic retreats in Tulum. So, but it's nerve inducing. I get it. But boys, if you want to be around for your girls or your boys or your children and your baby bears with 4 feet, you go get yourself teched.
I have a question for you. Well, it's a question for guys in general. Do you have a circle of male friends in which you can talk about these things with? Because I have my group, and we talk about
No,
all
the
of the
answer is no.
nastiness. Okay,
The answer is
but is
no.
is it a guy thing to not have?
It is
that
definitely
group?
a heterosexual guy thing.
Heterosexual.
I don't
I
have,
can see.
unfortunately, even though I'm a member of the community, I don't really have a lot of gay friends
Mm-hmm.
at all. So, but I think amongst those homosexuals, that I
Mm-hmm.
think around the gays, there's more flippancy to talk about it in a manner like, girl,
Right.
I am going through some shit. Especially, you know, when those who are more open about their sexuality or more passive or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
There is, but because I've seen it on TV.
Yeah.
But again, I don't seem to attract gay friends. No, I do. I'm attracting gay friends. I'm going to say good things. I'm going to say good things.
You got to put it
But,
out there.
Yeah, man. Shout out to all my brothers and all my sisters. And it's just funny because all my friends are straight. So that line from Little Britain, I'm the only gay in the village. Up in Pucharca, where I live in Pucharca, I feel like that. Okay, really quick. I want to throw on this track, and we're going to come back and talk about me time, not in a narcissistic manner. But there's a song that I have loved since university by a band that pretty much nobody listened to in the realms that I came from. But it's a band called Lemon Jelly, and I love me some Lemon Jelly. And this song is a rather long track. They did a wonderful record. They did a wonderful series of records between the early 2000s, basically the first 10 years. And this one is called Nervous Tension. We're only going to play the first few minutes of it because it's a bit long. But then we're going to come back and talk about me time. We'll be right back. This is some Lemon Jelly, y'all.
Ready. Nervous tension. Nervous tension an unseen enemy of the human mind. Nervous tension can cause you to lack confidence in yourself, to lose your powers of concentration, and to be inefficient in your work. Nervous tension can prevent you from relaxing, can spoil your leisure hours, and rob you of the sleep you need at night. Nervous tension. Nervous tension. The purpose of this record is to train you in the art of relaxing both your mind and your body. Use it regularly. Train your mind through repetition to follow the suggestions. And then you'll be ready to progress to side 2. The mind remains tense when it is restlessly turning over personal problems, worrying about financial matters or the conflicts of daytime employment, or fretting over the troubles of the world. A mind so strained and tense cannot relax, even in sleep. The night passes in uneasy dreams. The body is not refreshed as it should be. But you can overcome this difficulty if you thoroughly relax your mind before you go to bed. Better still, you can learn to relax from time to time during the day so that nervous tension never builds up to an unpleasant degree. Nervous tension. Nervous tension. You will carefully plan your course through life. You will think about your plan often. Think about it with interest. Think with pleasure of the satisfaction you'll feel as the plan becomes reality. You will firmly imprint in your mind this phrase: I maintain at all times a calm, confident, cheerful state of mind. You will repeat it aloud to yourself at least 3 times daily.
We're like gonna start winding things like down. But let's talk about a few things because that's what we do. That's what we do, especially when the spirit of flowing. In fact, don't they call alcohol spirits and libations?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was Lemon Jelly with Nervous Tension. Look them up. Slowly and surely, their music
I
has
didn't know
crept
that.
onto the streaming sites. Me time, but not in a narcissistic manner. Solo dates, out on the town by yourself, travel, nights out. On your lonesome, but not lonely. What did you mean by that? You wrote that earlier this week to me.
I think it's important to be comfortable with being with yourself, with your thoughts, without any interruptions. And it allows me to actually be around other people eventually. But, you know, I can be quite social, but I need to balance that out with my own time. So besides spending alone time walking, I walk a lot. And everyone thinks there's something wrong with me because of how many kilometers I can do in a day by accident. But it's my time, to have my silence. Taking myself out on dates.
A day with the city.
A day with the city, and you go, and I'm not saying, like, I like to sit at bars and order a whole extravaganza, whatever, have my drink at the bar. But I also like to get dressed up. Maybe it's a night at the opera or a show, but before the show, I go to a nice restaurant. I sit at a table and I order my meal. A lot of us tend to think, oh, that's sad. Or maybe everyone's going to stare at us. I don't think people are always thinking about us. Just
People don't
show
give
up.
a shit. Mostly in your life, you'll find out that people don't.
Yeah, just do it. You take a book. Well, nowadays everyone's on their phones, but be comfortable with the silence. It's extremely important because there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on within your personal life, your friends' personal lives, and it's just a lot of noise out there.
Totally.
But if you don't take that time, then you're always feeling, like, okay, obligated to something, or,
Totally.
don't be afraid to go to concerts alone.
Love that.
I love a good concert
Yeah.
alone.
Alone.
you
And
know,
a movie. A good movie.
A good movie. When I lived in the States, we had matinees. When matinees were actually cheap.
I remember that. Or the dollar cinema.
Oh my
remember
God!
the second one?
Come on.
Yeah. Shout out, we do have something similar, but it's also more avant-garde. It's Texas Cinema in Calle Girona in Gracia. Yeah, Texas Cinemas. has
Ooh,
reopened
I don't know
as
about
well.
that.
Uh-huh. And also Cinemas Girona also do sometimes like a
see.
run and certain things. Yeah.
I love it. Just go, sit alone in the theater, enjoy your movie. Then go for a nice brunch. So that's all to say that we should be comfortable with this silence, and that's my thing. A lot of people, my friends know this about me. They know not to invite me out sometimes because Towy, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm on my sofa thinking. I'm busy walking.
Exactly, though.
I need my time, and then I can be that better person for myself and as a friend to someone else.
And also, don't be afraid to. Oh my God, that was so funny. My homeboy last night, he was like, "You're dressed so smart," and I'm like, "I'm always dressed. Don't leave." I mean, I might run down to the Bompreu or Consum really quickly, but I'm not gonna be wearing flip flops and socks. I'm gonna look a little bit because I just wasn't raised that way.
That's the
And I
other
was
thing,
thinking,
yeah.
I don't look smart. I've been wearing this all day. Thank God he doesn't know.
But yeah, that's the other thing. Dress up, even if you're going out alone. Yeah.
For success. She's dead now.
So you just put me on an emotional roller coaster. I'm like,
and then you said that, and then I'm like, oh God, she died, and then Dolores O'Riordan died, and then all those girls with short hair. No, don't cut your hair if you're a singer. You're giving your power away. You're letting the terrorists win. I remember one day
reminds me of Brooklyn.
child. Okay, so we're walking down Manhattan streets, and it was right after 9/11, so it was probably Christmas time, 2001, and we were walking with my older brother. My twin and I were walking with my older brother, and we were talking about something. And my brother, Roddy, he just stopped us all of a sudden. Like when moms put their hand out in a car thing, he stopped us and he's on the street and he said, "Matthew," to my twin brother, he said, "if you don't go downtown and start spending a lot of money, you're letting those terrorists win." And it was all in good fun. Terrorism. But the thing was actually a co-option of something that he had co-opted a phrase from George Bush, who was saying, "I want to urge everybody to go out and spend money. Don't let the terrorists scare you into not spend." He also, right after that, by the way, he changed the schedule. Like, we've all in the West been on the same daylight savings time thing forever and ever and ever. And he pushed it back between 2 and 3 weeks so that there would be more sunlight
I
for shopping.
remember that.
Because it used to be always in October.
Was that the reason?
And yeah. So there would be more because we needed to keep as much daylight hours because it makes people go out to
That
shop
caused
more.
a lot of confusion.
You can't confuse the U.S. Americans.
That caused
We're
a
so
lot of
smart.
confusion.
All right, before we wrap it up, I do have one thing I want us to play because there's another track that I love that you threw out in there called by Rim Kwaku Obeng called Love Me For Real. Now, it's a long one, so we're only going to play 3 or so minutes about it. Then come back and say goodbye, and then say goodbye. And we'll go into a lovely jazz track, actually, by George Gershwin. But why did you choose this Love Me For Real?
From the same movie.
See,
You see the theme here. You see the theme here.
Rainbows, Paco Leon.
And it's a quirky song. Is it from the 70s? Well, yeah, the album cover looks like it's from the 70s.
I'm going to look that up.
But it's a quirky song, and maybe it's a reflection of my life. I don't know.
See, if we're going back from the first
I
thing from
don't
an
know.
hour ago, nostalgia for me is the 70s and the 90s. Obsessed with that.
But-
This is a quick ditty. We'll only play a few
Yes.
minutes of it, but it's
See.
Love Me For Real by an artist called Rim Kwaku Obeng. Obenj. G. We'll be right back.
I'm not going to be with anybody that's not going to be with me for real. I'm not going to be with anybody that's not going to be with me for real. I'm not going to love anybody that's not going to love me for real. I'm not going to love anybody that's not going to love me for real. I'm not going to be with anybody that's not going to be with me for real. I'm not going to be with anybody that's not going to be with me for real. I'm not going to love anybody that's not going to love me for real. I'm not going to love anybody that's not going to love me for real. I don't need corner love. I don't want corner love. If you love me, you gotta love me for real. Like it is. If you want me, you gotta want me for real. Like it is. Not hit and run. No way, no way, no way. Like it is. 'Cause I'm not a car. Like it is. So you can hit me and run. Like it is. If you say you love me, then love me forever, 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 ever. Like it is. Like it is. As soon as you do that, the door is open for you, baby. Tell 'em like it is. Tell 'em like it is. Tell 'em like it is.
Yeah. Okay, so all of this music that lady, well, not all of it, but a couple of the tracks that we played, they're coming from this movie, Rainbows. So we're going to shout out, before we drown out, we're going to shout out Paco Leon, who is Towy's secret husband.
Yes.
And Paco,
I'll tell him later.
we're going to talk to you, sir. I'll nibble your butthole. So, speaking of that, go get curiouser and curiouser. If there's anything that we would like here at the BCN Brunch Fest for you to walk away with, it's think about what you're thinking about and go get curious, y'all. Especially for those who are, I feel like, under our generation. You know, those 16 to 30-year-olds. There's this semblance of not being curious of life and going to explore. And I don't know.
Well,
Rhapsody and sad.
It's like, don't overthink it. If you want to find out about something, explore,
What do you mean? What
do
do you
it.
think
Don't. Just don't.
It's really hard
You
for some
know?
of us.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what would they think? Or this is what we don't do this. Just do it. If you have that curiosity, go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Amen to that. And those are wise words from a wise woman here
Thank you.
at BCN BrunchFest version 3.0. My loves, we're going to wrap it up like what? We'll be throwing this out on Al Gore's interwebs and soon on podcast forms as well. So thank you, Lady T, for joining me here on the BCN
Thank
BrunchFest.
you. Thank you.
And we're actually going to do something that I rarely do, but there's a movie coming out with Bradley Cooper about Leonard Bernstein. And again, Bradley Cooper's playing a man who's straight but was actually gay. Just saying. How fact and fiction go together. It's like fun. Bradley, you're going to have another kid with Arena Shake like we can't smell the closet. But anyway, this is a different... I can smell closet. We should have smelled it in here when we walked in. I said, Jesus. But we're going to play you off with something that's now in the public domain. I said Rhapsody in Sad just a minute ago. This is Rhapsody in Blue by George Gershwin. Folks, we love you. We'll be back in a few weeks just before Christmas for another show with us. Ciao to the people. Ciao, babe. Bye.
Bye. Where am I looking?
awesome.
Yeah, welcome back to the club with Lucas. Welcome, everybody. It's just a couple of minutes past 12 or 11. Today it's 12. It's time for the club with Lucas with me. Hi, everybody. I'm just coming off the back end of one of our creator casts, and it was like super fun. Shout out Lady T, who's maybe a spirit hanging in the corner of the studio. You never know. But I'm not alone in the studio. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Because the BCN queen of flamenco rock and soul is here, thank God, with me. And it's been a year. It's been a year since Lady T was here. We have two Lady T's, Tori, Sparks. Thank you so much for joining us here. I'm going to do my own one-man
Thank
clap.
you.
And I'm sorry that I interrupted the scrounging of a delicious butter croissant. Folks, by the way, why not just tell the good people? When you come to Spain, well, mostly Catalonia, actually.
You look so guilty right there. Yes.
El meu país es molt petit. But when you come to Catalonia, you need to know that the majority of your baked goods are made with pig lard. Mm-hmm. This is a throwback, an offshoot, actually, still from the war when having butter was very expensive. But
That's why it's good.
90 years later, they still do it. It's almost like Franco was still alive. And so this is, and also Thursdays is paella and or in Catalonia feijoada days. Why? Because every Thursday, Franco would travel and he wanted to appear in any pueblo in the country, and he wanted to be served the paella of the pueblo or ciudad. And that has become the customary. So you walk around on Thursdays and notice every menu del día is going to either have fideuà or paella on it. Now, fideuà, they do that because Catalonia is some different. But welcome to the club with Lucas and a little history lesson. Isn't it fun? Did you know that?
Somebody who's like one of those super vegans just got like a heart attack now as they're eating the croissant in the morning. You got to warn people before you destroy their cultural concepts. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, your cultural concepts have been destroyed.
Yeah.
Welcome to, I mean, did you ever wonder, vegan person, why the top of the roof of your mouth, we call it the roof of your mouth, right?
Well, you know, the thing is that every food product you pretty much ever try is, like, for example, Ben & Jerry's ice cream was going out of business when they first started. Not now, years and years and years and years ago. Back when they first started, was it Ben & Jerry's, Haagen-Dazs? I'm pretty sure Ben & Jerry's, because it was an American company. And then they started losing all this money, and so they added, I forget if it was a third more sugar and twice the fat, or twice the sugar, third more fat, something. And now they're fine. So just goes to show.
Did you see that was B&J?
I
Bartles
believe
and
so.
James? I'm just kidding. Ben and Jerry's?
I believe so. I know it wasn't JB, so I don't know.
Okay. Because also, did you know that Haagen-Dazs is actually an American company? It's from New Jersey.
Well, it might have been them then. Some ice cream company.
It's from New Jersey. Ice cream. By the way, also, for those of you who are vegan and eat jellies, like gummies and things, it is not vegan. But
You're so funny, man.
Haribo is now making a vegan, which is made with pure fruit juice and a solid pectin that's from whatever, like normal. It's not from the gelatin of bones, I think, from horses, right? Is how they make it. Delicious. But anyway, thank you for being here.
You're like,
today.
that's your intro, Tori Sparks. Welcome to the show. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry, vegans. It's nice to meet you. This is not my fault.
This is not Tori. Where have you been, madam?
Well,
I feel like we haven't seen you in forever, dear.
you know those movies where you'll see like the friends hanging out or the couple kissing each other goodbye in the morning or whatever. Kid goes off to school. The mom's like, "Love you, honey. See you later." And then it's the apocalypse. It's been kind of like that. Like I saw you last year in the studio, and then it was like the apocalypse. But basically, I've had. No, for real. And then,
Yeah.
but the only thing is
real.
that all the men that they've cast as like my love interest have not been nearly as like tall and good looking as the ones they put in the. Well, tall, yeah, but I believe the Hollywood men. Like, I just want to call the casting director and say, the next time I have to star in the apocalypse, can you not give me that guy, please? Because the chemistry was just off. But no, I had foot surgery a couple times, and I was recovering from that. There was a point when I was in bed for almost 2 months, and then we were touring once I recovered, which was great. We were in Germany. We were in northern Spain. We were doing all this stuff. We being myself in the band. I was super excited to finally be back to work.
being myself in the band, exactly.
Yeah, me and my children's. But then I had foot surgery again, and I also had a hemorrhage in my vocal cords, which if that sounds horrible, it's because it kind of is. And then I had COVID, and then so I've been recovering. I haven't had a voice for the past 3-4 months. So I've been with doctors and vocal therapists, and I know a couple people that think I'm lying, and they just think I don't want to hang out with them. But right now is the first time that I'm able to do like radio interviews and have conversations. I couldn't talk for weeks, so I'm happy to be
There you
back, and
go.
I'm grateful to the
I'm so
professionals who
grateful.
helped me. Yeah.
And I will apologize for the intro, the nerd intro. It has nothing to do with this.
I was gonna say the kava's talking because I have nothing to do with Franco and jellies and everything.
Exactly right. And I think it's actually coming off the back end of this very socially based conversation that we had. Now, when we talk about being able to perform, though, because of the situation that you just had to deal with, I mean, can you practice at all in your home? I mean, can you do anything besides talk like this?
Well, that's one.
Well, no, it's even worse, you said.
It's worse to whisper, yeah, actually,
Please.
because for those who don't know, your vocal cords, if you pass a lot of extra air through them, tires them out. That's why if you whisper, it gets tiring. But no, the beginning of the summer was a little bit difficult because we still had to. Well, midsummer is when this happened, and I still had to play shows because we had tours, we had gigs in Pueblo Español. So when the hemorrhage first happened, I just had to keep doing the shows. So you just kind of sing below, like Nick Cave style, do all the. Because I didn't want to let the band down, and had it been physically impossible, of course I would have canceled. But I could do it. It's just I sounded like like a transvestite, but it's okay. Not the first time someone has thought I was a man, but I'll tell you that story after because I think you'd appreciate it. But so we did the concerts, and plus I couldn't get in to see a doctor because it was August at that point, and Spain, and everyone's on vacation, and good luck, no one gets sick in August. So. By the time I found, well, because the public health people said we can see you in like 2 months, and all the specialists were on vacation, and they're like, you can see our intern. I'm like, no. So by the time I got in to see a doctor, right? By the time I got in to see a doctor, it was like the 1st of September.
Reenacting that's too good.
And the hemorrhage was mostly all right, but because I'd been singing on it, my muscles were kind of spasming.
Yes, ma'am.
And then COVID, which is awesome. And then, so, between all those things, in the beginning, I couldn't talk, I couldn't sing, and
Did it hurt?
it
I
didn't.
mean,
Well,
you say hemorrhaging? That sounds horrifying.
it doesn't hurt because your vocal cords don't have any nerve endings in them. Actually, that's why you often damage them without knowing it. It's the muscle. If you ever feel like your voice is, or it's the muscles around them that are stressed, not your cords themselves. So as a result, I was able to kind of do a bunch of exercises that I already knew as far as taking care of your voice goes. And then I've been to 2 different therapists and 5 different doctors. And between all of them, some of them didn't take me seriously. A number of them didn't. They said, singers are emotional people. It's probably all in your head, or maybe you...
Oh, boy.
Maybe you... What was my favorite one? I put this on Facebook recently because I thought people would laugh, and they have, but they've also been horrified. Stuff like, if you would just learn to relax and manage your stress, maybe you'd be fine. Maybe it's a hormonal thing because, women...
No, please.
Well, lots of stuff about women. Like maybe one compared me to a chicken. He said women are like chickens when they're confronted with adversity, like when the hen is confronted by the rooster in the coop, like to mate. Some freeze up and some run away and some fight back. So maybe you're that hen that freezes up, and once you learn to relax, you'll be fine. I mean, these are professional people that charge 140 euros a visit. So women doctors too, not just men. So I finally found a good one. His name is Dr. Claros, Andreu Claros, and he's the only one that took me seriously and found out it was all these other things. So
I don't know how to respond to this right now. I mean, if you could see the ghost in the corner, it would. I can't.
Yeah. Well, it
but
just
this
goes to women don't always get taken seriously when it comes to pain, and the voice is a tricky thing to diagnose. I get it, but I wish that more people would just listen. It's like if I came in this morning, like I did actually, saying my stomach hurts. Well, could be I'm nervous about being on the radio. I could have stomach cancer. So listen to me, not you, but the medical professionals, So I posted this on the internets because, as you know, I use Facebook mostly to promote my work or other people's work. But in this case, I thought it was important people knew. And it's amazing how many people have written me saying, oh, my God, I had the same thing. No one believed me. They always thought I was being an emotional singer chick. And so, bad experiences give you the opportunity to tell other people, you're not alone. So that's been good. And it's taught me a lot more about vocal technique, which is good. But it's been uncool because it's been 3-4 months without work. And I've been
Working artists need to work.
I've been producing people and stuff. I just haven't been able to perform. And now I'm almost back. But still, it's amazing to go home and not be able to sing a song I wrote 20 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just weird. But it's coming back. It's almost there. But it was very, very scary and very depressing. And I've been indulging in things to make myself feel better. Like I bought a lava lamp. I don't know. You got to do little things to keep yourself sane.
The
when
90s are back.
So that's what's been going on. But it's just the reason I'm explaining this is not to complain, but so that people know. Like, if you, first of all, they know if I've been gone for 3 months, that's why. And second, just I feel like this is one of my new things that I'm trying to express to people, that when it comes to your health as a performer, as an artistic person who needs to have their emotional health intact as well, not just physically, but also doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you work in a bar, you work in a bank. I mean, just don't let the powers that be make you feel stupid if they aren't listening to you. It's just stand up for yourself. It's really important, you know?
It's actually something we spoke of an hour ago about go get checked. Just go take care of your physical, but also your mental health too. And I'm wondering, when you're dealing with things like that, how do you stay mentally, with mental prowess during all that type of drama and trauma?
Well, I don't always, I'm lucky because I had a good example in my mother, who you've met. Who's a
shout
very
out, Mama.
strong woman, but also a strong woman with empathy. She's like the boss lady, but she's also takes care of other people, and she's wonderful. So I've had a good example in her, but there's times when you just can't handle it, So you have to learn when you need to rest. Like, I've been sleeping a lot. You have to learn when you need to rest. You have to learn when you need to take time off. And I don't mean necessarily like 2 months on the beach, which would be nice. But, if today I can't, just watch Netflix. It's not bad. You're allowed to rest and rely on your friends. I've been lucky to have very good friends in my life.
Do you think for workaholic U.S. Americans, this is one of the reasons why we have issues with not resting?
I think I used to love being hyperactive, productive. It used to make me really happy and feel fulfilled. But I think, at least in my case, one of the things that makes me feel less fulfilled when it comes to just this constant never ends input, stuff to do, it's because before it felt productive, and now so much of it is like social media and all this random crap that in the end, the amount of effort you invest in it doesn't always end up showing you a result. The same thing with booking a tour, by the way. But it just seems like, all the
Well
work,
said.
none of the work is focused. It's not about completing a project. That's why I like working on an album or something. It's a project. But when it comes to so many other things you spend time on, it just feels like throwing your energy out there, at least for me. So it makes me quite stressed, and you feel like you have to do 100 million things at once.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Or maybe I'm just old now, but
No. Perdona.
I don't know.
Perdona.
No, but I think because before I felt like my work was for a reason, and I don't mean my work as an artist, musician. I meant all the day-to-day admin. If I have 2 seconds, I'm going to answer an email. It felt productive. Now it just feels kind of like I'm just, I don't know, like you're like a hamster.
And laborious.
Yeah, so
Laborious
maybe it's
with-
that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But also, I think Americans also used to believe that if they were tired, it was proof of that. That you've done everything you can for your job. But these days, the work smarter, not harder idea, right? It's hard for me to do that because my habit is the other way around, but I'm trying.
That brings a whole other issue that I think we may have to talk about in another segment. But new kids, new workers on the block, new kids on the block. I don't know if you deal with younger artists sometimes, but do they have the same work ethic?
Well, no, and that can be both good and bad. On one hand, they don't waste their
Fair
time,
enough. Fair enough.
A lot of them don't waste their time on stuff that I've wasted my time on, that they know, like, this is pointless. You're not going to pay me. I'm not getting off my couch. So that can be good, because a lot of artists have trouble respecting themselves, like understanding my work has value. You called me. If you were going to call someone to clean your house, you pay them. So if you're going to call me to like do what's supposed to be art, you're going to pay me something, yeah? So that's cool. But then on the other hand, I do see a lot of people who miss opportunities because of that mentality. It's like, well, my art has value. I'm like, it does, but we're talking about creating a space for yourself in the market, which has nothing to do with your soul. It has everything to do with, can you make €1 or $1 from this right now? And that's cold, and it's not reflective of you. It's not reflective of your art. Like Prince, for example, amazing artist, also amazing businessman. David Bowie as well, Madonna as well.
Yeah.
You got other artists, though, who
Taylor
are
Swift.
Taylor Swift, exactly. But you have other people who are fantastic artists, and they're just like terrible business people. And they probably were just as good. I don't know about Prince, because he was like kind of an alien, but they were just as good as maybe somebody else, but they never were able to professionalize what they were doing because it's hard to do.
Britney Spears. So, yeah, for example. But speaking, you about 5 minutes ago mentioned something about new music. Might there be something new down the pipeline?
Well, now that I have a voice, and people are listening to me thinking, you sound fine, but About a month ago, I could only talk for 10 minutes, and then I had no voice. None. It was just gone. So now that I have a voice, I'm starting to work on some new music finally, because I'm not sure if the band is gonna be like, yay, new music, this is exciting, or if they're gonna be like, we already know songs, we have to learn more. So, but it's about time, because the last release was 2 years ago, and I like to release something every 2-3 years. And the last release was kind of cheating because it was another live recording. So now it's time for new material. Yeah.
Well, and it was a different time too. Do you feel that now? Because I want to get to one of the tracks now. But do you feel that? Okay, we've moved into the old new era, post pandemic.
Well, no, just I feel like it's not even a post-pandemic thing, but as a musician, every time you release an album, you're like, it's like having. Okay, this is gonna sound terrible.
child.
I'm gonna say it's like having a baby. People, I have never had a child. I don't want to imply that I know what that's like. But imagine you grow this thing in your body for like 9 months. There's all these beautiful and terrible side effects of this beautiful project that you're birthing, right? And then as soon as you have it, they're like, oh my god, he's so cute. When's the next one? You're like, fuck you. I just did this. Ah! So I mean, it's with an album. There's a while where you want to live in what you've managed to somehow, in spite of it all, create with the people who are on your artistic team, right?
Yeah.
But now, after a while, it is time to do another one. And I just, in the case of the pandemic, we recorded the last Out Live album, El Mar Electric, was kind of an homage, as they say. I can't speak English. to all the time that I'd spent in Barcelona, because at the time it had been 10 years. And all the influences, the artistic influences from Nashville, from Chicago, from here, from there. And to sort of say, it's been 10 years here. Thank you. And this project wants to kind of do like an end of the era sort of thing. So it was a live recording with a bunch of people, and there were new versions of songs from our first album, El Mar, and some other songs as well. And that felt like just saying kind of a thank you to people who've supported us. But now we got to do something else, yeah.
Because we're also coming up on the 10th anniversary of El Mar, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
right?
good job. Yes.
Thank
you.
And so this actually is a track from that live record. This is Until Morning, and we'll be back in about 45 minutes, everybody, with Lady Tori Sparks.
Stay just for a little while. Let your smile be the light in my room. Give me until morning. Oh yes, and let me your skin now till the day comes too soon. 'Cause I love you. Yes, I love you the way that the wick loves the flame. Oh, I love you, yes I do. Oh, I love you the way that the cure loves the pain. I was waiting. Have been waiting all for you. I've been waking up cold. I've been waking up all day. I've been haunted by oh, I've been haunted by things I didn't even know that I wanted till I loved you. Yes, I love you the way that the tide loves the same. I love you, yes I do. Oh, babe. Just like the gun loves. Yes, it loves the trigger happy hand. I was waiting. I have been waiting. Oh, for you.
the train. Oh, oh, yeah. I love you, yes I do. All these years, babe, I didn't know what I didn't have until I learned your name. I was waiting, I have been waiting. I was waiting. Oh, yes, I've been waiting. I was waiting. I have been waiting. I have been waiting. I was waiting for you. Oh, stay. Please stay. Just for a little while. I need you to lend me your skin. I'm watching you sleep. Oh, as the day creeps in. As the day creeps in, oh Lord. As the day, oh, as the day creeps in. As the day creeps in, oh yeah.
Hell yeah! And that was from the Elmada Electric, and that was Lady T. Tori Sparks. We are here on the Club with Lucas with Tori Sparks. Thank you for being here, love. Let's get
Thanks
to
for
some
having
other
me.
questions. For example,
Uh-oh.
I made mention of the hustle, and we've talked about it once before, maybe 2 years ago when you first came. What does it mean now, post-pan? I don't want to bring it again, but the post-pandemic, what it means to have the hustle inside of you. What does that mean to you nowadays?
Well, but it's not wrong to say post-pandemic because it did change a lot of things. And it sped up a lot of processes that were already occurring, no?
Totally.
Well, it's just, the thing is, it means something different now because so many things are considered to be, there's the option of doing them in person or online, you know? People consider it totally legit to do an online concert, for example. That's something I was actually doing when I first moved here every Sunday night on this platform called Stage It, I think is what it was called. It's like one of the first online streaming platforms, and I did it on Sundays because when I moved here, people from the US were like, how could you abandon us? You know, you hate us. And I was like, no, no, no. So I would play. I didn't get any money from it, but I wanted to keep in touch with fans from the United States, right? But now, and people thought it was so silly, but they would tune in because it was the only way to see someone they preferred to see in person. But now I almost feel like people would rather stay home and stay on their couch and just watch a streaming concert than go out sometimes. So it's changed people's mentality, sometimes for the better, sometimes not. I believe in the beginning it changed people's mentality for the better, where people valued things more. And now I think perhaps I feel like humans, you know how like sometimes you'll see kids acting up in a restaurant and you can tell that their parents just didn't like raise them right type thing, didn't teach them how to behave in public. I feel like humanity's like that with technology now. It just doesn't know which fork to use, and it's like, I'm just gonna eat it all and not wash my hands first, you know? Like I just feel like the hustling thing, the problem is that, like I said before, the work used to be a bit easier to figure out where to invest your energy.
Yep.
And now it's like, so do I spend time touring? When the airlines and everything are, when I went to Germany this summer, for example, or when I went to Morocco, 3 times more expensive, no? Or do I just stay home and broadcast like a
Serio?
YouTuber? Yeah, 3 times more expensive.
Scheiße.
I had like 9,000 something euros out of pocket expenses to bring 5 people. It was ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
but then, you know, I'm not going to ever be one of those people that just sits home and only does like YouTubing, or I would have done that in the first place. So it just depends on more. The hustle is more about, I guess, you know, do you believe that your work is that the time you're putting in is all of this work having a result? And in my case, monetarily, sometimes there'd be an easier way to do it. But the audience that we have are people who do appreciate concerts in directo, and also I do, and something I need for myself. So I think it's a question of figuring out, you know, where should you invest your energy for what you want to do, and not necessarily always what the market is asking for. which is like I said, a different thing, because as an artist, it used to be about, do I sing a pop song when I really want to sing, a folk song and to try to get famous? But now it's about, do I spend all my time on Facebook or do I write music? It's quite a different thing. I don't think I would have tried to become a professional musician had I started now.
Really?
Because it's also online based, Before it was people based, and that could sometimes get ugly because you ran into all kinds of things. But on the internet, you do as well. And it's much more isolated. I'm not saying that young people shouldn't get into music because they're born into this technological era. But for me personally, the way it's changed, I mean, I feel grateful because I already have an established base. But to start out now, to try to figure out a way to make some noise on the internet, you get way more likes and stuff if you have your cat in your video than if you've written the best song of the century, or if you've cured cancer, by the way. Cat video, like. So it's just the reality of the world we live in, and you got to find a way not to let it get to you. And when you do let it get to you, you got to come here and you got to just drink the mimosa.
Child. So that then, in a way, you've explained what the philosophy behind what the work that you do is.
Well, it's got to be authentic because, and I don't mean that in a cliched way, but I've always felt like that, which is one reason why I probably have less money than I could have. But I've turned down opportunities that were kind of big because, like, I was supposed to be on The Voice. I said no, things like that, right? Because if I wanted to just make money, there are way easier ways to do it than be in the music industry of all things, Yeah. So if I'm going to do this every day and I have to defend this product, which is our art, really, but it's a product too every day, then it's got to be something I believe in, because otherwise, man, I want to go to a job that gives me benefits, If not, you got to do it authentically.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to mention I'm only going to mention her because she is a Catalan artist, but
Madonna.
no, she is. Rosalia just released a song with Bjork.
Yeah, and the video is done with AI. Did you know that? Yeah.
Okay, now I do. So they were not together.
Apparently not. It's sad, right? But this is the problem with technology, because how cool is that Rosalie and Bjork are collaborating, but how uncool is that they didn't actually
The song's
meet?
great, actually, but the song's decent. What? Okay, yeah. Well, so never nice. So let's talk about something else. So the last couple of years, in fact, please, no, what were you going to say?
But no, but that's one cool thing about technology is that you can do that now. I mean, I
No sé
can.
cómo siento. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, that's the thing. Like these days with the technology, you have so many different opportunities you never had before. On the other hand, does any of it have value if it's not real? It's like the idea of,
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. What did I say?
But it's
Was
true
it
about the
profound?
value if it's not real.
No, I said that the cool thing about technology these days is that you can do things you could never do before. But if you can do everything, does anything have value? Does it have value if it's not real, right? Like in the past, people had to. The cool thing was you would see, because I mentioned Prince before. I remember seeing this video where it was him and all these other people up on stage, right? The cool thing is seeing them all together. But if it was AI, would it be as cool? What if would it be as cool if it was AI and you didn't know? I mean, it's all these things, right? It's like they have these realistic sex dolls that look like real women, and a lot of men are like,
the first brothel of that was here in Barcelona.
I'm not surprised at all. It's like,
It got canceled after It got closed after 3 months because the men were bringing in scissors and knives and started like butchering the dolls.
also not surprised, sorry, but
Child.
so like some people are perfectly happy with a realistic sex doll rather than a person.
They'll be marrying soon in Japan.
By the way, when they released a male version of the sex dolls, men were super mad about it because they felt like they'd be replaced, and women were like, "No, of course not." Well, first of all, if you can do it, why can't we do it? And second, no, I mean, it's not the same thing as a real man, because like real men support us and listen to us and respect us. Oh wait, yeah, sex doll, never mind. Sorry. No, my point is
Keeping it real.
My point is, let's compare if you compare the AI to something like this, yeah, there's only so much that a sex doll, there's only so much that a hologram or something can do for you, and if that's all you need, that's fine. And I think that AI and technology is fantastic. The fact that humans have been able to invent these things is so inspiring. It's amazing, but it's how people choose to to use it. And for me, I thought the sex doll thing was a good analogy, only because, you know, do you want
Great one.
like to get your like a messy kind of like possibly painful relationship and have like a life with somebody maybe, or do you want like a sex doll? It's gonna be easy. You just make sure you sanitize it.
I mean, just
You know, I don't want that kind of life as a musician. That's
not
all.
at all. The whole fornication with this inanimate object weirdness. It's just
Well, but I also meant in terms of like the analogy that you just don't want as a musician the fact that like your interaction is basically with your screen instead of with other people, because there are ways to connect with other humans, of course, obviously, through the screen. But in general, the things I've learned in life as a musician or as a human, most of them have had to do with in-person interactions, and usually not the interaction you expected, right? And that's the thing with the screen aspect of our culture and our business right now, is that I think you miss like the randomness sometimes, and that's the cool part.
Yep. You know what? It's beyond. But don't get bitter. And speaking of bitter seeds. This is another track that we're going to throw out of the Electric Mar Cafe, which is from a couple of years ago. This as well is Lady Tori's part. Is there it's the band with you in this one. Is there somebody else singing with this one though?
No, just me. But this is this was from the live recording of Mar Electric, and this was cool because this is one of those songs. This is an example of like the in-person stuff, right? This is a song that we never really were happy with, but then we got the chance to re-record it, and this was in front of all these people. And that day, I was in the worst mood ever. So it really affects how the results come out. And the idea, and I think this is appropriate for this, what we've been talking about. The chorus says, you know, we all go a little bit crazy sometimes. Just the idea that why do people do what we do? Well, because as much as we try to be as logical as possible, sometimes we just go off.
I never do. I don't rage. Max, I don't rage.
No, but in this, well, raging is healthy, but in this case, it means like, why do we put ourselves in situations that we know are not good? Or why do I keep thinking that, like, you know, if I go to the bank, like when they say it's going to be open here in Spain, it will actually be open. You know, why do we do things like this to ourselves? So, but it's because, you know, there's just...
Don't get bitter.
it's not, you got to laugh so you don't cry about these things. So
Girl, amen to that.
the idea of the bitter seeds, no, it's the idea that if you keep giving a situation energy that's bad for you, it's going to just grow. Like if I should just change banks.
It's true, though, actually. Then let's talk about where that money for starting that bank came from. But this is Tori with Bitter Seeds. In fact, this is Bitter Seeds live, parentheses, Tori's version. We'll be right back.
Then we have breaks because then I can...
The fruit of what we do sometimes it overwhelms the vine. Keep watering the bitter seeds that should to grow in time. I remember well the day the light went from your eyes. I beat that bloody horse to death cause something broke inside. I guess we all go a little crazy sometimes. Oh, I guess we all go a little crazy sometimes. Shot in love without drawing blood is assisted suicide. A word, a fist, a careless kiss, 1,000 ways to die. I need to be more to you than I'm meant to survive. There's life support and tubes and cords. There's so much more to this life. We all go a little crazy sometimes. Oh, I guess we all go a little crazy sometimes. Oh, yeah. my skin paper thin. Keep this love alive. Though no one asks the questions, it can read between the lines. I could explain this all away. The words won't come out right. I know the world keeps on turning while I keep singing the same line. The exact same line. Oh, I guess we all go a little crazy sometimes. I guess we all go a little crazy sometimes. Honey. Oh, yeah.
Olay! And that, again, Elmar Electric. And remember, you can get all this music where good music is streamed. And that was Bitter Seeds with Lady Tori Sparks. Let's get into a little bit more of this. The last couple of years, we've seen a ton of music venues attempt to open, close, big ones. People that have been here for years or decades on the scene close. In particular, very recently, there's a stalwart venue that I've seen you at, that I met first, Lucas Herrera, shout out, pianista. Can we speak about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Whatever you can, obviously.
No. I mean, I try to only give information that I know to be true. The event you mentioned there's been a lot of controversy around that, and I'll explain why. But basically, these past couple of years, even before the pandemic, actually, but especially since the pandemic, a lot of music venues have closed, especially small to medium-sized independent venues. One thing that happens here, I used to be the secretary of the Sindicato de Músicos, the musicians union here in Catalunya, which people always were like, what? Because I don't speak Catalan, but yeah. So I was the secretary for a couple of years. So as a result, I had the opportunity to get to know the law pretty well. And when it comes to renting music venues to artists, it's a very common practice here in Spain. It's common practice here in Barcelona, where they'll charge you 150, 400, 800, 1,500 euros más IVA to play, saying, well, you're given the opportunity to expose your art. And so if you are that good, you'll be able to recoup that money when people come and pay to see you, right? And that's their business model in their head. But that would be like paying a chef to or asking a chef to pay the restaurant rather to cook in the kitchen, right? It makes no sense at all. Be like a surgeon renting his operating room from the hospital. It's kind of ridiculous. And everyone outside of the business I speak to about this is like, what? That can't be right. Yeah. So this whole huge intro just to say that unfortunately this has become a business model that a lot of venues follow here in Barcelona and in the rest of Spain. And even though it's been illegal since 1985, there's a law on the books, a Real Decreto, that says you can't do that except under very specific circumstances. But for some reason, this is a law that's not enforced, and it's more and more common. So all this to say that there are very few venues that never did that, and they all really, truly, they want to keep their doors open, but they also really, truly want you as an artist to make money and to continue to work because they are music fans, the people that ran these places, right? And these are the places that are closing down because they don't sometimes receive the same government assistance, subvenciones. They're the places that pay you as opposed to charging you. So, of course, they have less money in their coffers, so to speak, So I'm generalizing a lot, but this is the case with a lot of places. Other people have been the victims of urban planning. Like, for example, Rock Sound was one of the first important ones to close. And they were, their area was districted to do high rises, so they had to close. And then smaller places like La Revolta, places like Honky Tonk Blues Bar, all these other, El Milano, this jazz club that's in the center, they've all just closed down because it is very, very difficult to make money if you're an honest venue, right? And then the one we just mentioned is Cafe Rock and Roll in Gracia. And that's like...
How long had Cafe Rock and Roll, been in Gracia?
It had been open about 15 years, but it had been managed by the same person, Begonia Perez, for about 9 years, not quite 10. And she's the one that really built up the place to make it a music venue. Because it's this cool rock bar. There's just stuff on the walls. Yeah, it's an amazing place. And it's just this place where normally you'd go in and go, cool rock bar, okay. But she created this music scene where you'd see people there who normally play much bigger venues, but they just loved the atmosphere and the community that she built, really. And then And then she, unfortunately, this is not a secret, so I'm not trying to air her dirty laundry, but she had health issues. She had to step back for about 6 months. And the owner just was like, you know what? No, and just closed it. So, and then there's been quite a bit of controversy because a lot of people reacted with quite a bit of sadness because there was no warning. Nobody was told this place is closing. So everybody felt like someone had just died, you know? It was
Because it did. An institution just passed.
Yeah, so it just goes to show that if the no one was told it. I played there. The one concert I've done since I've been back was there, like the week before it closed, and I didn't even know. So it just goes to show that when a venue, you know, isn't there's 100 factors that can cause a venue to close, but there's only one factor that causes it to remain open. You've got to have somebody in charge who cares about the music and who is willing to. In the same way an artist is willing to work for their music, even though it's not always getting paid what they want. A person who's willing to put in the time and the effort, even though it's hard. It's much easier just to say, you know what, this is hard, I'm closing. Or, you know, I'm going to charge the artist a bunch of money like some other venues do, which Cafe Rock and Roll never did, which Rock Sound never did. These venues really were like the fabric of the local scene. And now that they're gone, I'm not trying to be this nostalgic, like, abuela, like, oh, things were better in my day. But this is something that made Barcelona very special, and I'm worried about our city because it's losing these venues that used to be the cool part of the live scene.
It's
and
part
now,
of our culture.
What do you where would you go now to see like a cool independent concert?
Lanao. Right now, I mean Lanao, like where I went to see at the...
But they charge you. They charge the artist to play.
But if this, like you just said, as the secretary for the union, if this is unlawful by decree, how is this permitted in any way, shape, or form?
Well, it's also illegal to drink alcohol in the streets here. Right? I mean, just in,
¿De qué estás parlando, eh?
in Barcelona and Catalonia and Spain in general, like there are laws that are enforced better than others. That's it. And when there's no economic interest to enforce a law, it often doesn't get enforced quite as quickly. I know I sound like super bitter or something. I'm not. I'm just, you just have to look at the reality of the situation. And it's unfortunate to me that this country doesn't value culture as it should, because I'm not saying value me as a musician as they should. No, I mean, you know, the culture of a place is what makes it special. And I just wish that the Spanish government, that the Catalan government, the local government was prouder of its own culture. I mean, it does these amazing things. You've got La Merced, you've got all these incredible festivals and stuff, but if they only look at it like we just want Rosalia to come headline, they have to look at it like
With an
we need to
AI
provide.
Bjork.
Right. We need to provide like a foundation for young artists who are like 15 years old right now, who are going to be the next Rosalia in 10 years. Provide them with places to play or DJ or whatever they do, you know? And there are places, they're just fewer and fewer and fewer. And this is stuff that 20 years ago I never would have talked about on the radio because you don't want to make enemies. But it's someone's got to talk about it. It's not cool.
Thank you for doing that here. Seriously.
Like nobody knows that this stuff is happening.
I think I query this because of the intelligent people in this room, in this studio. But people that they don't honor their culture, and I think part of it goes back to the fact that they have devalued or forgotten that their culture came from other cultures. And so when you don't know that, when you don't study that, when you don't teach that, for example, our culture of food, because where did the food come from? Potatoes are not from here. Tomatoes are not from here. Tropical fruit is not from here. So much food comes from the Americas. All of the riches came from the Americas. So they never valued, because the culture was stolen from somebody else to make their food, which was actually Arabic food as well, because the Moors were here as well. So I feel like they don't value a lot of this, the sentiments that you're talking about of the culture, because they don't even know their own background of their own culture and where it comes from.
Well, if we're talking about people from here, but also Americans.
Not to generalize, but
Americans
in a way.
don't either. You know, Americans have no idea where most of their culture came from. Like Thanksgiving was a couple days ago, and you know that's like I believe Thanksgiving is a nice idea to be grateful for stuff, right? But it's basically a day celebrating killing all the Indians that are not Indians. So I think most countries have a problem with that.
Amen.
I think most places don't value or understand their own culture, but in this case, the music aspect bothers me because it seems to be just purely economic. They just don't see, they see something that has no visible, tangible, like economic this will
Value
make
for
me rich
them.
value, right? They see that as less valuable than these intangibles. And when people say, oh, in Spain it's terrible, the culture here, and people in Germany, people in France, they're better. It's not that they're better. They just understand that to a point, because you still find bad venues everywhere, right? But they understand that the intangibles are part of what defines you as a country and as a culture, as a city. And Barcelona is one of the most amazing places I've ever been, which is why I've lived here for 13 years. I wish it just saw that part of it. It's like being with someone who like doesn't,
Appreciate you.
well, or who doesn't appreciate themselves, no? It's like reminds me of my stupid ex-boyfriend where I'm like, dude, I like you. Why don't you like you? You know, I wish Barcelona just loved itself more enough to say, we're going to keep places like this open because without them, we are not us anymore, you know? But they're like, no, everybody just go to fucking, you know, Pacharán, no sé cómo se Pacharán, no, ¿cómo se llama? Whatever. The places on the beach, the stupid,
Oh God, the chiringuitos.
no, like opium and stuff, like these,
Oh,
like
okay, the old clubs.
Pacha, these places, no?
Yeah.
Pacharán is a liquor.
It's a good one too.
I would like you guys to be aware that my stomach's bothering me today, so I'm only drinking orange juice. Just imagine if I were actually drinking a mimosa. Holy anyway, but
It's Patrick.
no, but to say to people, you know, like, why not say, why is somewhere like Opium or somewhere like, you know, these big hotels and stuff in Barcelona and all these restaurant chains and stuff, that's awesome. Economic progress, but can we not also make sure the small venues survive? Can we not make sure the
Cultural
small
progress.
bookstores survive?
Amen.
I mean, small restaurants, these places are important, you know?
Exactly. So this is, you know what? Thank you for saying that, because one of the things I screamed at my business clients and uni students this week was, for this holiday, buy local, buy a Catalan local Spanish company. Don't order from, you know, somewhere else, MediaMarkt.com instead of Amazon. Go to, you know, one of our local bookshops and buy your stuff there instead of going to that big one. Do something, you know, that's going to keep mom and dad open. A mom and pop shop open is the big thing. Think local. No, what is it? Think global, act local. And I love the way that you said that Barcelona needs to love itself more.
Yeah, because look, it's so cool. You know, it really
It
is.
is the most visited city. I think 3 of the 5 years running, more than Paris now.
I
In the
mean,
world.
Barcelona's got such amazing museums and monuments and stuff. But like I said, I wish you would also just look at the local culture as part of what makes it special. That's all, you know, because
Amen.
otherwise you turn it into a tourist attraction, which, again, good. I'm glad there's tourists. That's good for the economy, but you don't want that to be the only thing, you know?
Exactly. Speaking of, where can tourists, locals, and everyone go catch you live? Anything coming up?
You're good with these segues.
I tried, yeah.
Yes, now that I can sing again, more or less, we on December 3rd, there's a concert it's the 9th edition of Barcelona in the Round. This is a concert series that I've set
great
up.
one.
Because in Nashville, where I used to live for 7 years, in the Round was a really common format where a bunch of singer-songwriters would get together and they would all trade off showcasing their original music. And that's because Nashville's a songwriter town and you're trying to get your song sold somewhere. So like somebody records it, right? Here it's not like that, but I love the format because you get the opportunity to bring 2 other artists to a beautiful venue. In this case, the El Siglo Theater in Mercantic in San Cugat. Beautiful place. So it's a Vermouth concert. It's on December 3rd, a Sunday at 12:30 in the midday, which is super early for musicians, but we love you, so we'll be there. And usually it starts at 1 because the sound guy's always late. But so yeah, December 3rd, it'll be myself and Carlos Mendoza, who you've had on the show.
Yes, of course.
He's an incredible frontman, amazing singer, and his band Luz Verde was nominated for the Latin Grammys. His other band, Alma de Bocarón, is awesome. And Jonathan Herrero, who's the frontman for A Contra Blues and Rambalaya. They won the European Blues Challenge. So these are incredible artists you don't usually get to see just acoustic, right? So it's free.
And with a vermuteo, as dicho, right? You
Yeah,
said,
in Vermouth, it's in a theater. It's a beautiful place. So, and then on the 20th of January, I'll be in Luz de Gas in this Elvis and Friends benefit concert that I participate in every year. Last year, we raised 6,000 euros for nonprofits locally. And then March 8th, and again in Luz de Gas, but with the band, and we'll be having I'm trying to organize, having some fellow female artists as invited artists on that show because March 8th is the day of working women, even though every day is the day of working women for me because I work every day. So.
Amen. And she is a whoa man. Lady Tori, thank you for coming in and sharing all this with us today. Honestly, it's been a year and I can't believe a year has passed by. But
I know. Well, thanks to you also for providing the opportunity to speak without a filter because on a lot of radio stations you feel like you really need to measure your words, and here I appreciate that you can be honest, and you know,
Thank you for doing that.
thanks for
Seriously.
supporting independent culture in general.
Thank you for giving us culture so we can support it, because this is why we're here for you, children of the corn. I want to thank Lady Towy as well for being the ghost in the corner, and Lady Tori Sparks. Thank you so much. Remember, folks, you can get all that information as well at torysparks.com and click on the links to get your tickets as well to the Vermete that's going to be happening in Sant Cugat on the 3rd of December at 12:30 or 1 o'clock, depending on the tech issues. And remember, there's also shows coming up in January and March as well. So all of that will be on Tori Sparks' show, and then she'll throw it to me, and we'll throw it to you as well. All right, folks. Also, we're doing one quick call out for clothes. You can get a hold of us through the Club with Lucas or at RCE 1069, as well. All those are tags. And Fashion Cares BCN on Instagram, because we are doing a clothes call. Previously loved vintage. They have to be nice clothes. Please don't bring things with holes and paint stains on them. But we are collecting them because of our big benefit that we're going to be doing in February as well. We'll be having so much more after the holidays about that as well. But we are doing that casting call for clothes. Yeah, we're casting your call for clothes. CCC. So bring those as well. Remember, you can catch us at Fashion Cares BCN. All right, everybody, but we're not going to leave you without a dope beat to step to. So this is actually Wade in the Water by Lady Tori Sparks, also from the Elmar Electric Cafe recording, which, again, you can catch on Spotify. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Thanks to you.
Seriously.
And speaking of music, last thing, if you guys do want to buy local,
Please.
Revolver, Disco Cien, Surco, all these local record
Are
stores,
still with us. Amen.
I mean,
Cien. The
yeah.
best. One of my favorites.
go buy some vinyl. Vinyl makes you look cool if you gift vinyl, by the way. So buy it local. Just saying, I like to support these guys. So
Thank you for
thanks a
saying
lot.
that. Amen. All right, folks, this is Wade in the Water with Tori Sparks. Folks, we will see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Porque hoy esta es nuestra iglesia de rock. Right? I like when you guys in the front are happy. Good. Because I said, wait in the water. Oh, I said, wait. I said, wait in the water, children. I said, wait. Yes, in the water. Oh, because God, He gonna trouble. Oh, that water, yeah. I said, wait in the water, yes, I said, wait in the water, children. Wait in the water, yeah, 'cause God's gonna trouble the water. You see that girl, she's dressed in red, wait in the water. She must be the children that Moses led. That's right, she gonna trouble that water. You see that girl, she's dressed in blue, wait in the water. You must be God's children coming all through. Yeah, she gonna trouble that water. I say wait in the water. I say wait in the water, children. Wait in the water. Oh, you know that God ain't gonna trouble that water. Oh, come on now. Ignacio Cama Ramón Vague. Dale un aplauso. Come on.